daily dose of Bitachon. And he writes that we have learned that a person has to push himself to have emunah, and then he has to train himself. The Chavod Levot says, practice makes perfect. And it's a proven rule. Even science backs it up. And we know that repetition has a tremendous effect on the brain, right? So think about it. You need to think about how you brush your teeth. No, you could brush your teeth with your eyes closed. You know already what's your routine. You already know how to brush your teeth without even thinking so much about it. The fact that we do it at 6 is going to be the problem. Well, the same way we're going to do it when we're 60. It's not something that needs to be relearned every time, right? Driving is also automatic. A person who's a new driver, he's nervous, he grips the wheel so tight. But a person who's, driving many years, even with his knee, he could drive. He doesn't even need 2 hands anymore. But when we learn, the scientists explain that when we learn an action, there's a thing called the myelin sheath, right, on the brain cells, that wraps itself around the cells and the brain cells and help create circuits and help keep the nerve impulses from losing strength. So therefore, the more you build repetition on something, the more myelin you build, and the more that connection between those brain cells are able to be connected. So therefore, the practice actually physically causes a change in your brain that you causes it to make it perfect. So therefore, a lot of times when your person practices basketball shot, right, and he does it again and again and again, so those impulses between those 2 brain cells happen, but the more he makes that impulse go through, the stronger and stronger that connection becomes. So therefore, we have to realize that mindsets are also the same thing. The way you think and the way you approach a situation, the more you practice that mindset, the more the connections in your brain will automatically do it on its own. It will be easier and easier to have emunah later in other situations in life. So therefore, we have to sort of, as they say, rewire our brain in order that we should have more emunah infused in the way we approach situations and to see positive and not negative. Like a little kid, when he hears rain, he says, "Oh, rain, rain, go away, come back another day." I hate rain. That's what the little kid says. I can't do anything. It's horrible. There's no fun that day. It's negative, right? When you get older, you realize, what do you mean? Rain is the source of all life. If no rain, but we have to fast. We have to cry to Hashem. We need the crops. We need the rain for the world to exist. So therefore, you start changing the way you view rain. All dependent on learning and implementing what you're learning. Practice makes perfect. Rav Pam says that we can do this in all our situations of our life. We used to automatically think negative. We rewired the brain by learning about emunah, and now we see all situations as positive. As Rav Pam was one time at a wedding where the father of the bride hired a world-class artist to make a very expensive ketubah for his daughter. However, the rabbi, the person filling up the ketubah, made a mistake and it became invalid. So then what happens? So at the chuppah they realized this, and the Rav Pam took out another ketubah. He had another ketubah and quickly filled it up and used a different ketubah. He said the first ketubah was no good. So then the father of the bride was so upset. I hired this months in advance. I paid so much money for this artist to make this ketubah. Now it's pasul. You can't use it. He saw that this person was not calm. He was very bothered. So he whispered to his ear and he said, "Listen." And he calmed down. And everybody wanted to know what the rabbi said to this guy. That he calmed him down right away in an instant. So he found out afterwards that he said to him that you should know your daughter was destined to have 2 ketubot. 2. And would you prefer? You would prefer that this marriage wouldn't work out and then she would need to marry somebody else to get another ketubah to fulfill that decree of having 2 ketubot? So Hashem had a mercy with you, and He made it that this ketubah was pasul right now, and that way she gets the second ketubah in this instant. So you see that Rav Pam, every situation, he looked at it in a positive way. Why? Because he rewired his brain. It was automatic bitachon. A person also can have automatic bitachon, all depending on if you have the right mindset and practice that mindset. So therefore, when you find yourself in a challenge, don't despair. Don't go into default mode. Rather, go into bitachon mode by practicing, as practice makes perfect.